1 to 4 months. I mean, 95% of the cases. But again, sometimes they're going to be holding on to that. It gets lost. I don't know what they do with those things. Sometimes it just seems to fall into a hole somewhere, and they never come back. I mean, immigration is kind of weird, you know. You've worked with these guys now. You know they're not always consistent.
As long as the application gets accepted by them, you can continue to stay there. So you're legally allowed to stay there.
Right. One problem, though, is if they approve it, and it's only approved for 3 months, but they approve it 6 months later, what happens now? And your guy's still there. Well, he's overstayed 3 months, maybe. You're in a gray area. You're in limbo. What do? You tell that guy to probably leave, pack his bags and go home right away, and that he would have to explain that maybe at the next visa interview if there is another visa interview, or if there's a problem later, he might have to document what happened.
That means logically and practically speaking, with the B1 you can actually stay for about 10 months.
Yeah, you could if, I have clients where that has happened, where they never came back to me, I'm still here, just waiting for that extension. At some point they're not going to be kind to you, they're going to think, wow, you kind of abused that, but... So.
I think we had enough of value adds on
Good
extension.
value. Yeah, very
The
good.
next is for the change of status. So it's basically from one temporary visa to the other. So here too we have a list of steps which you need to follow, and to be eligible for this, again you must have legally stayed there. The same couple of conditions are the same that what applies to the extension of your B1, and then be eligible for the new temporary visa classification. So whatever that new classification of visa requires in terms of eligibility criteria, you need to qualify for that. And then file an application for change of status on time. I mean, if you're very clear that yes, you're really going to change the status, as soon as you go there, maybe within a month or two, do that task immediately. Don't wait till for the visa to expire and then start working on this.
But also you have to be careful you don't do it too early, right? If somebody comes on a B1, they're saying I'm coming only for temporary purpose.
Yeah.
If you try to change status to H1 or L too soon, then they think, you lied to us. You said you were coming just for temporary purpose. Now what are you saying? You want to be H1B for 3 years? What's going on here? So usually it's good to wait 3 months or more, if possible, before applying for change of status. I think that may be coming later in this as well. So, right, you don't want to show the intent to change status before you actually come into U.S. That would give you a problem.
Whatever it is, you leave the discretion to the US government. Whatever they decide, that is final. So you cannot force them or bind them to deciding in your favor. And then the application not to be filed within 90 days. As we said a little while ago, it is always better. We recommend that the application not to be filed. Means as soon as you go there, don't file this change of status application. Well, that was about the B visa. We went through the entire process of this B visa. We saw what is the eligibility criteria, what are the prerequisites to obtain this visa, what are the documents that are required in terms of forms, in terms of the other certificates of the beneficiary. And then we also saw what are the processes involved in preparing for the in getting an appointment for the interview, and later how to prepare the beneficiary for the interview in terms of the answers that need to be given to the person who's asking the questions out over there, to the interviewer. Well, and then we also saw that this visa, it is extend. I'm talking about to come to your point that I-94. You can extend your stay, provided you have done that well in advance. It's not after the visa has expired. And then we also saw that this being in B1, you can change the status from this visa to the other, provided you qualify or you have met the eligibility criteria for that visa. Any questions before we move on to the next?
Who need to apply the I-90 for extension?
What's that?
Which department we have to file the I-90 for extension?
Typically for B1, it would be in the department where there's 4 service centers we talked about, and geographically you may be in a place that is has jurisdiction for one of the service centers. Again, East Coast, South, Midwest, and East Coast, West Coast. Okay, anyway, whichever geographic location that you are residing as the B1 visitor, you can go to USCIS website and they have a map, actually. And for I-539, it will tell you. If you click on a state, it has all the states of the U.S. And if you know your states, which you may not by looking, right? I can see Karnataka on a map. I know where that is. But I see California. Do you guys know what it looks like? Well, they have a map anyway, so you click and on the state, and it will show you where to file that form.
Does a person is refrained from traveling to US when his L1 or H1 petition is under process?
That's a good question. I don't think they're precluded from coming. Okay, they should be able to come, but they might want to explain that if it comes up in any kind of question. Because if the person asks, do you intend to do H1B or L, that individual might have to answer, well, not now. Yes, I'm applying, but I will do the visa interview later. And I have plans, my employer is scheduling that for me, and the visa department is taking care of that, but I'm only coming for 3 months. See, here's all the proof. It should not preclude you from coming if you're a good talker. Yeah. All of this information and more is in this great training manual that we've prepared. So the B visas, there were some good examples of cases that are software companies or other kinds of companies who are inviting people to the U.S. for purposes that may be related to what you do or kind of unrelated. Some of them we made up, they're kind of funny, you know. But you can see examples of things that might give you creative ideas for getting visas where maybe nobody else was thinking of that. One of the things that I try to do is think outside the box. Look at my firm website. Hopefully some of you will later. You know, that's one of the reasons I'm here is to, you know, meet people and things. But if you look at our website, thinking outside the box is a key for our practice, because most law firms and maybe even some companies are very rigid in the way that they approach this. And that's good to be, you know, compliant and to be correct in the way you do it. But if you can be creative and you can get a visa for somebody that maybe didn't otherwise qualify, you've done something great. That's my feeling. And I love that feeling. When somebody comes from a big law firm or whatever and they say, this guy, Jake, nobody can get a visa for this guy. Do you have any ideas? And something happens, you know, I'm able to fix something, I feel great. So that's the glory of what we do. Some of you know what I'm talking about when you succeed like that, you feel great. You just want to